Hi again, this is George, and this is the final conversation we're having, for now anyway, on branding. I'm sure you must have learned a lot. Even I myself have learned a lot, having this conversation. But I'll just try and do like a brief recap of everything I've said before I go into my final thoughts with you. First off, we tried to define branding, and I said, for me, the most important definition of branding is a brand is a name with a promise. Two things: a brand, a name. Three things, pardon me: a brand, a name, and a promise. Okay. Now, you create the brand, you create a name, then you build a brand, and that brand makes a promise to people. But the most important thing about branding is that promise must be fulfilled. Okay, so it brings me to what I want to discuss today. I'm discussing the 5 P's of marketing, really. And the 5 P's of marketing takes me back into the idea that all we're trying to do is fulfill a promise. You see, I learned something very early in life. In life, there are promise makers and there are promise keepers. Okay, you can be both, but in every organization, let's imagine a restaurant. You have somebody who is a waiter. That person comes to you. The person is a promise maker. So it comes to you, or you can have scallops, you can have lamb chops, you can have this sprinkled with salt, you can have that. He's making promises, right? The promises now create an expectation in you. And then this person goes into the kitchen, which you might not see, depends on the setting, and tells the promise keepers what you have ordered. And it's the job of the promise keepers to then deliver according to the expectation that you have. Now, the important thing is, as we build our brands, we are going to be making promises every day. We're going to be making promises to the people that we're trying to reach. And it is our job, more importantly, to keep those promises. Now, we can keep them with the 5 P's. The first thing is your product, is the first P. This P is important because that is where it all ends. You see, there are some people that have very terrible branding but great products. It reduces their impact as a business. However, it keeps people, the product can keep people loyal. So the product is so important. The product is more important than branding, because truly the fastest way to kill anything is to advertise it prematurely. So you can imagine the best campaigns. Your website is the best. Your branding is the best. Your business card, your office, your retail center, everything is so fantastic. And you sell suits. But every suit you sell has a defect. Some of them don't have buttons. Some of them, the length on the right hand is shorter than the length on the left hand. There's always one thing wrong with your product. That way you are killing the brand. The brand does not stand a chance of survival. So it's important that we pay great attention to the product. The product ultimately determines the success of the brand. If the product is bad, the branding will be bad. Makeup does not last for life. If someone needs makeup to look in a particular way every day, the person will continually spend on makeup. And usually what people do is they have a bad product and they need makeup, which is cosmetic solutions, to enhance the market performance of that product. However, you will have to wash off the makeup at night. And then we'll now see the real quality of the product. So you cannot use communication and marketing and branding and all of that to continually hide the defects of your product. Improve on your products. Make sure that what you're taking to the market is excellent. The next P I will discuss is people. Before you start building a brand, before you start, doing anything in branding, you must think about the market size. How much can I really make from this market? How big of an impact can my product make? How many people would require my product or my services every day? I'd like to share an important concept with you right now. It's called the toothbrush business. Okay, so what's the toothbrush business? I want to assume that everybody watching me right now brush their teeth. I want to assume, just permit me. If you didn't brush your teeth, it's okay. We're not in the same room, but a toothbrush business is that business that at least 50% of the world's population will use your product every day. That's the yardstick that a company like Google sets before they open a business. They think about the mass. How many people use Android? Think about it. It's massive. How many people will use Google in a day? Massive. Massive. So when you consider the market size, it influences the product quality, it influences the product type, it influences the product choices, it also influences the next P, which is the place. So the first P I talked about is the product, the second P is the people, and the third is the place. So when you've defined how big your market can be, it should also restrict you to a place, to a location. Location, location, location. For those of you who know about real estate, location is everything. The closer you are to the CBD, the central business district of any city, the more prime and the more expensive the assets will be. Okay, so you must choose a great location that can give you the kind of perception you want your brand to have. And that will ultimately tell on how people will perceive your brand as well. Now, when we talk about place, we must also consider competition. Okay, competition in this case is how many other people are doing what I'm doing in that place. For instance, I want to locate maybe I want to sell ice cream, and then I go and put myself right where there are already 50 established ice cream sellers in that area. It's going to take a lot for me to survive in that place as a new entrant into the market. It will take a lot. So I'm going to have to invest a lot in taking away customers from those people who already have an established network in that area. So place is important, but you must consider not just location, but the other variables in the location that influences the performance of your product and your business. The next P is price. Price setting is also something that affects branding, but we don't know this most times. You see, the amount you place on a thing determines the kind of people that make inquiries for it. I was told that only about 3 people visit the Gulfstream office, Gulfstream Exhibition Center every week. I'm not surprised because, how many people who buy a private jet in this lifetime? Okay, it's not a Toyota Corolla, a private jet. So because of that, it naturally reduces the number of people that you can come in contact with. It reduces the kind of marketing that you need to do. It maybe not reduces, but it focuses it better. You know that thing about if you want to sell a Rolls Royce, you go to where a private jet is being sold, because the person who's buying a private jet should be able to afford a Rolls Royce. So it just helps you select your complement, helps you, focus better on the kind of people that you would work with, the target market that you would work with, and all of that. So price plays a big role in that. And finally, my last P is promotion. How you communicate, the channels that you use. This would influence your budgeting. This would influence the kind of people that you reach. You shouldn't tell me that you're trying to reach the younger people and you're not online. You shouldn't tell me that you're trying to reach the older people and you're not on TV, you're not on the billboard. You must be able to say, based off of the kind of audience I'm trying to communicate with, kind of people I'm trying to reach, these are my marketing channels, okay? And when you're talking about marketing channels and distribution, you must be able to go in depth and select based off of who you're trying to reach, and you must be able to decipher what your budget will then be and how much you will spend. Digital makes it a lot easier these days because you can instantly set a budget and it tells you what kind of traction you will get, and then you can determine whether you want to increase or not. But the most important thing in promotion for me is that make sure your brand is visible and clear enough and can be seen at every point in time. Don't do an advert and we don't know it's yours. I was driving past some adverts the other days and I couldn't read anything because the lettering was so small. The font size was terrible, and it was wordy. You have to really stop at everyone to read it like a book. That is poor promotions, Like it's normally said, poor planning leads to poor performance. I would say poor promotion leads to poor profits or no profits at all. Well, this sums up my conversation with you about building a brand. However, I would like to just again give you a kind of like a recap of most of the things we've discussed. This will help, the assimilation and the understanding of my thoughts. First off, we went through the definition of branding, creating that unique identity, that brand, which is a name with a promise. And then we went into the various, types of archetype. We talked about the history, and then we went into the archetypes of the brand. We went into the assets of the brand. We looked at all the things that, form the brand personality. And then we talked about the intention versus perception. That's a very interesting thing, which I think you should consider. The intention that you have and the perception that people will have, and how noise affects the way your intention is interpreted. And then from then on, I went on and we discussed the touch points. We talked about the physical touch points, and we talked about the virtual touch points, how the physical touch points can influence the performance of a brand in the market, and how you must never neglect the virtual touch points of your brand. And finally, we talked about 5 P's of marketing. There are a lot of P's, but time will not afford us to go into all the P's that, exist out there, but we talked about 5. And this is me telling you, thank you for your time, and also appreciating the convener of this amazing initiative, the M2G Academy. Thank you for this opportunity and privilege. And to every other, I've learned a lot personally from this. We've listened to many of the speakers, and trust me, there's so much that we can learn from this program. It's awesome. It's amazing. And I really appreciate the team behind this. Thank you for the opportunity and the privilege. Till next time, George Omoraro, CEO, Rage Media. Thank you.